Hello and welcome to the day ahead. It is Wednesday, July the 9th. I'm Andrew Gagan. Well, the local share market is set to open modestly lower, with ASX futures pointing down around 7 points. Global equity markets were little changed overnight as investors paused to consider the impact of President Trump's new tariff regime as he slapped a 50% tariff on imported copper. It was a volatile session on Wall Street as investors waited for clarity on US trade policy. The S&P and Nasdaq oscillated between gains and losses. And while investors were wary of making big moves in larger stocks, the Russell 2000 small cap index outperformed. Among the mega caps, Tesla gained after its stock recorded its steepest single-day fall in roughly a month in the previous session. US copper miner Freeport benefited from the prospect of steep import tariffs on the metal, with the US listed shares of BHP and Rio finished in mixed territory. Moderna was the S&P 500's biggest percentage gainer, after leading medical organisations filed a lawsuit against US Health Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. and the Department of Health and Human Services, arguing that the current COVID vaccine policies pose a threat to public health. Now, if other pharmaceutical stocks slid following President Trump's threat of 200% tariffs on drug imports. Shares of solar stocks fell after President Trump directed federal agencies to strengthen provisions that repeal or modify tax credits for solar and wind energy projects. Well, US President Donald Trump has promised to impose a 50% tariff on imported copper, followed by levies on semiconductors and pharmaceuticals, a day after he threatened 14 trading partners, including major exporters Japan and South Korea, with sharply higher tariffs. He reiterated his threat of 10% tariffs on products from Brazil, India, and other members of the BRICS group of countries. He also said trade talks have been going well with the European Union and China, but says he's still ready to slap heftier tariffs on EU exports. Here at home, after the Reserve Bank surprised markets by leaving interest rates on hold, Australian three-year government bond yields rose to 3.48%, while the 10-year jumped to 4.36%. Markets now pricing in a 90% chance the RBA cash rate will be cut by 25 basis points at the next meeting on the 12th of August, with 3 more cuts in the easing cycle. In the US, the 2-year Treasury yield is little changed at 3.9% and 10-year at around 4.41%. And the US dollar index is up slightly, with the yen remaining under pressure after President Trump reiterated his plan to impose 25% tariffs on goods from Japan. The Aussie dollar jumping higher after the RBA left its cash rate steady at 3.85% and is currently at 65.3 US cents. And Bitcoin is trading just below 109,000 US dollars. Well, oil prices have edged higher on forecasts for less US oil production, along with renewed Houthi attacks on shipping in the Red Sea. Brent crude futures up almost 1% at $70 a barrel. Copper prices have surged around 10% in response to President Trump's 50% tariff on copper exports to the US. Iron ore remained at about $95 a tonne, and gold slipped more than 1% on a firmer US dollar and rising Treasury yields. Spot gold at $3,300 an ounce. And locally today, RBA Deputy Governor Andrew Hauser will speak. That is your day ahead. We'll see you again tomorrow.